Hi everybody, it's Afro Monkey, and I'm in my Sky Factory world, and I have some good news and I have some bad news. Uh, I'll start with the bad news. I lost my media drive on my computer, so I lost several episodes of this series. I debated whether I was going to go through and redo everything, and I've done so much since the last episode. I just don't want to go back through all of that because there was a lot of resource gathering and so on and so forth. So as opposed to going back through it and rebuilding everything and re-recording the episodes, I'm just going to go over a brief overview of what I did. But the good news is in addition to replacing that drive, I did some upgrades and now I can record at 60 frames per second. I'm still tweaking this a little bit. It doesn't look quite as good as I want, but I'll continue playing with that to get the best quality for my recordings. But expect 1080p 60 frames a second record or videos now, whatever. The first project that I worked on was building the grinder, like I said in the last episode. That was relatively simple. A grinder doesn't really need all that exotic of resources to build. I went with this recipe, which is two plastic sheets, a Invar sword, two tin gears, a machine frame, redstone reception coil, and two books. Relatively easy to make. The grinder, like a lot of or most of the machines in the Minecraft Reloaded mod pack, takes power in this case I'm feeding it RF. And basically any mob that I think is within a 5-block radius, but I'm not sure on that, is murdered, and it collects its resources and spits it out of the back of it. This is part of something that I'll talk about in a second, but the power, I redid my power system. Instead of using the leadstone power cells, I'm using the redstone power cells, which store a lot more power and can input and output a lot more power. In order to use that, I've switched over to using hardened energy conduits. Can't talk. The grinder, in addition to spitting out items in the back into this thing, also spits out mob essence, which basically can be used with the auto enchanting table and the auto anvil and something else that I can't remember the name of, to enchant stuff, to fix stuff and upgrade stuff. Very useful stuff, but at the moment I don't have the resources to build anything that can use it, so I'm just storing it. And right now I have one drum full and nearly half another drum full, so I either need to get the resources to build those other items, or I need to add on to my mob essence storage. This is actually part of the Applied Energetics mod pack. It's a ME interface, Matter Energy. It basically takes the items that are spit out of the back of the grinder, converts them to energy, and stores them in my ME network, which I will get to now. Other things that I probably won't go over in detail because I've pretty much gone over it already. I expanded out the platform that has my farms on it and made a tree farm that's gathering oak, forest trees, and rubber trees. So that's been quite helpful. I've gathered a lot of wood. Unfortunately, the way I have it going with that right now, it's breaking the leaves as opposed to shearing them. So my dirt production is kind of at a standstill, but I did that so I can get the maximum number of saplings to continue my tree farms. And what I'll probably do is expand the tree farm out and have one that's all oak and just gather the leaves from that, and then this tree farm will just continue to supply saplings for both of them. This is the ME network that I've worked on. Takes a lot of resources, but as opposed to having my wall of Java barrels with a bunch of item ducts behind it and it basically having to micromanage sorting stuff into different Java barrels, This thing basically takes everything that you input into it and puts it all in a nice one nice interface. Can't talk. You can sort it various different ways. I prefer just to sort it by stack size. You can search it for particular items. Very, very, very handy, but very, very, very resource intensive. And also I have this ME cable, which basically connects to the various devices on the network that are inputting and outputting from the network. Have this configured completely wrong, and I'll explain in a second. This is the access terminal, allows you to access what's in the ME network. This is the ME drive, which stores various storage devices. Each device that I have, which are 64K storage units, you can have up to 63 different types of items on it, and then each item takes up a certain number of bytes to store. So like one cobble takes up 10 bytes to store. I don't know if that's actually true, but just an example. You can expand it. You start off, you just put them in these various slots, and with each slot you add more storage to your network. I currently have 6. I can make 4 more to go up to 10, and I believe you can make another ME drive to put on the network and put more storage devices in to further expand it. And this is the ME controller, which for a small ME setup is not necessary, which I had known to begin with, and I could be wrong. They could have changed it since the information that I've read, but from what I understand, you can operate with just the terminal and a drive of some sort, and there's a few other different types of drives. There's an ME chest, which holds only one of the storage units, and there's also that's not part of Applied Energetics. It's basically another mod that adds on to Applied Energetics or the ME network, and I think it's the blast resistant ME drive, which only holds 3, but it can take a creeper blowing up next to it or TNT blowing up next to it, and it doesn't destroy the item, so that's cool. The ME controller basically allows you more channels to get items in and out of the network. With just the terminal and the drive, you only get 8 channels, so 8 different types of items can be transferred in and out of the system at one given time. With this, you can add different cables up to, I don't really know if there is a max. I believe up to 8, but I can't be certain on that. And each of those has the maximum channels, so you can have a lot of different types of items going into the network at one given time. The way I have it is everything is daisy chained off of this one connection, which means if I have a bunch of different each different thing that's feeding into the network is providing more than the maximum that the cable will hold, stuff has to wait before it can be transferred into the network. I will be redesigning this with different channels, probably set it up so that each quadrant or each similar type of item is on the same channel, but I don't want to get it overly complicated. The ME network, really, really, really awesome, but one caveat, you have to have some type of energy provided to it. In this case, like I said, I'm using redstone energy cells and a plethora of generators up there to power the entire network, not just that one. If you don't have power going to the ME network, it stores a little bit, but once that power is depleted, you will no longer be able to access any item in the ME network. And the true downside is if you were storing fuel for a generator in the ME network, you can't get to it, so you have to find a different way to power your generator. I like to basically, I have a few generators up there, some lava generators, a solar generator that don't require any fuel. Well, the lava generators require fuel, but I have a fuel production from lava. And then solar, just sunlight, although it cannot collect and discharge power at the same time. And that's over here. I also have 2, I think they're redstone. Heated redstone generators, which I'm currently feeding destabilized redstone into them. They also, if you don't want to use a destabilized, you can feed lava and just regular redstone into it. The destabilized is just a little bit more efficient. And let me just go up here instead of talking about it from down here. And I have the high temperature furnace, which takes regular furnace fuel. The more you put into it, the longer it goes. But and the longer it goes, the more power it produces. So if you set it up to, or put enough fuel in it to last for an hour, it'll have a certain power level, and as that time ticks off, it'll gradually get lower and lower and lower. Great for if you have a lot of fuel to feed into it. Great for pushing a lot of power to your power network if you did something like me, to get all of your redstone energy cells charged quickly, and then let the rest of them try to maintain that and put fuel in that as needed. Up here I have 2 redstone energy cells, one just basically taking power from the 4 generators over here, transferring it over to this redstone energy cell, which is taking power from the 2 lava generators. Yeah. Going back to the ME network, in addition to that ME interface over there, I also have various input and output buses, or export and import buses. With these, there's different types. There's the basic, which you can only take 1 type of item at a time. I believe this could take 8 types of items at a time. On this chest, I have it where... Oops. There we go. Where I can drop an item in a chest. Sometimes it doesn't update. And they go into the ME network over there. And that's depending on if the items that you're, or the blocks that you're putting stuff on or hooking up to the ME network, determines if you're going to need an import or export bus, or if you're going to need an ME interface. I've actually found that for most situations it's easier just to use the import and export bus, but the ME interface is less resources to create, because it's actually a component to make the import export buses. So in the future I might not use as many import export buses if I can get away with using an ME interface. But that's a basic overview on what I've done the last couple of episodes that never actually made it to my YouTube channel because they got lost. Next episode I'll be working on magical crops, and that will explain why I have this little area of animals and dirt. Thank you for watching. Sorry I didn't get the episodes where I did all these things out there. I am investing in some the ability to do some backups, because those seem to be nice. I've heard good things. But if you liked the episode, give it a like. Also consider hitting that subscribe button, and thanks for watching.